Okay guys, I said I was gonna do it. Here's the challenge. And if it doesn't look like my normal place, I'm up here at my camp in Rayburn, practicing for the Brendan Belt tournament. But I told you I was gonna do this video. I got a challenge for y'all. This is my challenge. Been reading comments. This one I'm gonna take a little bit more serious because it felt like a lot more people were being kind of genuine asking me this question. But here's my challenge. Full day, you get all day long in the boat with me, and we are going to, well, I'll take you to the lake. I'll turn on Livescope, and I'll let you have at it. So all you have to do is go out there, and I don't care what bait you can throw anything you want to. Your only job is to try to snag a fish on Livescope. Like, I don't care what the fish is doing, if it's on the bottom, if it's up top, if it's swimming around, whatever it is. Your entire job is to snag a fish with a bait on Livescope. That's it. I'll give you $10,000 if you can do it. If you don't, you got to give me $1,000. This is great for me because I like making money. So I hope people take me up on this because this is going to be great. I can make a whole bunch of money doing this. But it's so easy. It's so easy that now people think that it should be in the rules that you have to catch every fish directly in the mouth on Livescope because people are out there snagging fish. I don't like making assumptions because we all know what that means. But I would assume that anyone who's saying this has never actually used Livescope before in their entire life. One day on the boat, using it, you throw it out there and go, hey man, it's funny how those bass don't sit still, for one thing. And like, you think you're lining up and could actually like hit the fish, but it's amazing how many casts sometimes it takes. Like, I don't even want to get into the cone out there, but it's not like it lines up like if you put your finger out there in your Livescope, like you can hit your finger out there. Like it's showing a fairly broad view out there, for one. But regardless of that, like, do they think bass are just stupid and like things run into bass all the time? Like, do they think like other fish run into bass because bass are like, what is that? What is that swimming in the water next to me? I'm just gonna let that thing hit me. Like, I don't even know what to say. For one, bass don't do that. That's number one. Good luck trying to randomly snag a fish out there, 80, whatever. So, yeah, that's my challenge. Why am I offering up this challenge? Is once again, some people asked about, do you think you should be able to catch or keep fish or weigh in fish or whatever if you foul hook one? Now, I've said this this is my one thing, and the argument I always have against this, no matter the joking aside and the challenge aside and all this other stuff, is this. No one's out there foul hooking fish. Like, they're not throwing out there and the fish just sitting there and you accidentally like run into it and foul hook it. I doubt that's ever happened in the history of fishing. We're not talking bedding fish, guys, so don't even bring that up. That's totally, I'm just talking about normal fishing. We've all snagged a bass, regular fishing, somehow, some way. Every single time that bass was trying to eat your lure and it went after it and it missed it or something and you snagged it or whatever, right? There's certain baits that probably snag more than that. I would say the number one bait, and a lot of people won't realize this, is the rattle trap. The rattle trap people snag fish all the time, like top of the head, the back of the neck, like, because it's usually out of grass, because you're ripping it up out of grass, and while you're doing that, it comes up and they shoot out of the grass and go for it and they miss it, and you feel like they hit it and you feel it, and sometimes, I don't know, once a year that might happen. Some guys, we had this one guy that I swear he did it every tournament. He got lucky and like, or he said he always, I got lucky, and it was always a big one. I've probably done it less than, I don't even know, 10, maybe 5 times in my entire life, and I live here on Rayburn. So Other than that, it rarely happens. The jerk, what people were really talking about is this jerk bait thing. Guys, you're throwing a bait that's literally called the jerk bait. It's literally doing all this number, and this fish is swiping at it at times. It's trying to eat it. We're not accidentally foul hooking them. They're hitting the bait. Guys, half that bait doesn't have hooks on it. Okay? The hooks are all on the bottom. We have seen this now a bunch with fishing now that we have Livescope and underwater footage of bass hitting baits. We've even seen it where they inhale an entire bait with treble hooks and spit it out, and they don't get hooked. But you have other ones that like go up there and hit the side of the bait and stuff like that. Okay? They're trying to eat your bait. Well, we got treble hooks on there. That's why we have treble hooks. That's why we don't have a single hook embedded into a plastic lure. Like, this is, guys, what are we doing here? They're treble hooks on baits. They're there to grab a hold of the fish when it tries to bite your bait. That's what's going on, guys. We're trying to bite your bait. The essence of the rule of fishing is we're trying to get fish to react. We all seen bass miss topwaters all the time, right? They're not the best sometimes at eating things. They miss stuff all the time. I'm sure they do it on a daily basis with shad, crawfish, perch. They miss it. They try to attack and they miss. So what we're trying to do is essentially trying to get one of those fish to react and try to eat our bait, and we catch it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it misses by just a hair. And this is the main reason I think California has a dumb rule. I think it's stupid. Big surprise, California has dumb rules. They're good at that. I'd say the one thing California is really good at is adopting stupid rules. So good job. So they have this thing, and I'm sure people out there love it because they don't know any different. I'm sorry, guys. But you have to catch it with the hook fully inside the mouth. So, okay. Well, a jerkbait has, some of them have 3 treble hooks. So say a fish goes up there, hits it from the front, grabs a hold of it, gets it head first 2 hooks inside its mouth. The jerkbait is now sticking outside the mouth, and this hook isn't hooked on anything. Now he's fighting. Now the fight's on. You're fighting it and fighting it and fighting it, and it's freaking jumping and doing all that. And then all of a sudden, this little hook over here, as you're fighting it, with all the commotion, hooks it. Hooks it on the outside of the mouth, right? Now you got 3 hooks in there. Heck yeah. Now you're going to land this fish. And you're fighting it, and all of a sudden, not 1, but 2 of those hooks in the mouth come out. And now you just got this back hook in it, and it's in its gill or its head or wherever. I mean, it had it at first, but now all of a sudden it looked, and you saw it as it jumped. You're like, oh, I got him good, right? We all have done that. We all see where it's hooked. And all of a sudden we look up, and now we only got this back hook on the outside, and now that fish doesn't count. Well, in the whole essence of fishing, in the whole reason we're doing is trying to get that fish. We did everything right. And in the midst of the battle, that happened. And now you're telling me that fish doesn't count? Why? Why? Tell me please why. Where did I miss this? Where did I miss doing everything right? And I still land the fish. I get it in like I was supposed to. And now I have to make, now it's a judgment call? Or now you're like, no, that doesn't count. What are we doing here, guys? Where did fishing become this hard? Why are we overthinking some of these things? We need to be like really thinking about like all the bad stuff that's happening in fishing, right? The info stuff and tournaments and people freaking cutting people off, and I can't tell you every single time I'm on the water, why do I have someone pull up on me and idle over things that I'm fishing? Why every single day I'm on the water, I swear, I have someone idle over where I can cast over there. That's what we should be like discussing. Not whether or not a fish comes up and bites your bait and it accidentally gets one hook inside and one hook outside, and then all of a sudden somewhere in all the midst, and now that fish doesn't count as a fish catch. Once again, sometimes I don't know where this happens, but people are trying to like really reach for things. They're wondering about things, and there's a reason none of us bring this up about. Do you notice that like no pro ever brings this up? None of us bring up like, oh, what happens if we're snagging fish on Livescope? You want to know why? Everyone that's ever used Livescope realizes that's not a thing. We realize too, okay? And if you watch every video, what do you see? Just start watching Livescope videos, okay? We get to watch this hundreds of times a day when we use it. You ever see a bait come down and we're trying to like put it right on its head? You notice how we're not like, you never see a jerk bait and watch the video of the guy ripping a jerk bait trying to like run into the fish. You notice that? Notice how everyone's like trying to keep it above the fish and have the fish come up and eat? Like no one's trying to like put it right by and like behind it. Because we all realized that when you come up behind a fish, they don't really like it. Like fish don't really like something coming up behind them. Like that's not normal to them, I don't think. I don't think shad are like, hey man, look at this bass. We're going to come sneak up behind this bass and scare it. Like shad are like, oh, that's a bass. Let me ease off. Like I don't even know where to go with this, guys. Just stop reaching for some of these things. There's a reason it's not happening, and we all know it because we all use it, and we're like, yeah, that's. Could it happen? Anything could happen. I've seen bass jump in boats without ever being hooked because something spooked them. Right? When fish are on a bed, we all understand that fish doesn't want to leave, and it's a lot easier to snag them. Like, I'm all about that. I'm all about keeping that rule, enforcing that rule. That there's no gray area in that rule at all. That's a rule. Like I said, the challenge, which is a joke, but the challenge is because good luck. If you spent your whole day doing that and not trying to catch fish, maybe you do snag one. You'll probably end up with one for the day. Right? There's nothing reasonable about that that's going to be like, if you just went actually and just tried to catch fish instead of trying to like, I don't even know how you would snag them, but just say you did. Like, you probably would have caught 20 that day instead of randomly maybe snagging one, which I still don't think is possible. But good luck. Good luck and try. That's not something that people are going to go out there and do. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to be like, oh yeah, my brother's sister's cousin's uncle, freaking kid, next door neighbor did this. He caught 3 of them in a tournament. Okay. Sure he did, Billy Bob. I'm sure freaking little Billy Ray Cyrus over there freaking, went and snagged him one up in a tournament. Anyways. Yeah. That's my challenge. Anyone wants to hit me up, man, I need some extra cash at times. Make sure you bring that money though. Because when we get through for the day and you didn't snag anything, I want to make sure I get my $1,000. Okay? I'll hold you to it. Right? All right. See y'all.